Valenya sat on her crystal throne and stared at the plate of food in front of her. The smells that came up from the steaming dish would make most beings in the galaxy drool, but not her. She pushed the plate away with one slender finger and sighed. The servant who had brought the meal bowed low and backed away from the princess. Valenya was known across the stars for her beauty. Her skin glowed with a pearly light and her hair flowed like liquid moonlight down her back. Her eyes changed color. With her moods right now, they were a dull gray, showing her boredom. King Zorith, her father, watched from his bigger throne nearby. He stroked his long white beard and frowned. His daughter had not eaten properly for 3 full moon cycles. She was growing thin and weak. He had brought the best chefs from 17 star systems to cook for her, but nothing worked. Behind the princess stood Lyra Nightshade. Her pointed ears and graceful features marked her as one of the ancient elven race. She wore armor made of a strange metal that seemed to drink in the light. Her hand rested on the hilt of her curved blade. She had sworn to protect the princess with her life. At Lyra's feet, a small dragon curled like a cat. But this was no pet Ember, was a mighty creature in a small package. His scales glowed red like burning coals and small puffs of smoke came from his nostrils when he breathed. He and Lyra had fought together in the Great Forest War and shared a mental bond that let them speak without words. Valenya. Please try to eat something, Lyra whispered. The concern in her voice was clear. The princess turned her color-changing eyes toward her bodyguard. I cannot, she said. Everything tastes like dust and ash. Nothing brings me joy anymore. Ember made a soft rumbling sound. The small dragon uncurled and climbed up Lyra's leg to perch on her shoulder. He stared at the princess with intelligent eyes that held wisdom from centuries of life. King Zorith stood up from his throne. His movement made the guard snap to attention. His robes shimmered with the light of captured stars and his crown held gems that were said to contain the souls of ancient suns. Enough, he said in a voice that could command planets. I have been patient. I have brought you the finest delicacies from across the known universe. You refuse them all. This cannot continue. Valenya looked at her father with mild interest. It had been some time since she had seen him truly angry. The king's voice softened. My daughter, you are the heir to the Lumerian Empire. Your strength fails with each passing day. If you do not eat, you will fade away. I cannot bear to lose you. The hall fell silent. The servants kept their eyes on the floor. The royal guards stood, frozen at their posts. Even the air seemed to pause. I have made a decision. The king announced, all who are present shall bear witness. From this moment I declare a competition open to all who wish to enter. From across the galaxy, challengers may bring food for the princess. The first to present a dish that she enjoys shall win her hand in marriage and half of my kingdom when I pass to the stars. Lyra stiffened at these words. Her hand tightened on her sword. Ember growled softly, the sound, like distant thunder. The little dragon did not like this plan at all. Valenya showed her first real emotion in weeks. Her eyes flashed a bright purple with surprise. Father, she began, but the king held up his hand. It is decided, he said. The royal messengers will spread word to every corner of our empire. The competition begins when the 3 moons align in 7 days' time. Later, in her private chambers, Valenya stood by the window wall that looked out over the capital city. Far below, the towers and spires of Lumaria glittered like jewels. The planet's 3 moons hung in the night sky, nearly aligned in their rare formation. Do you think someone will bring food I might enjoy? She asked Lyra, who stood guard by the door. The elven warrior stepped forward to join her at the window. Her reflection showed sharp cheekbones and eyes that had seen too many battles. I fear what this competition will bring to our door, she said. Many will come not for you, but for the power your father offers. Ember glided down from his perch on a shelf. The small dragon landed on the windowsill and gazed out at the moons. He sent an image to Lyra's mind, danger coming from the stars. I share your concern. Lyra told the princess. Your father has put a target on you. If someone wants the throne badly enough, they might try to force you to accept their offering. The princess turned from the window, her eyes now a deep blue of determination. Then we must find a solution before the moons align, she said. Tell me, Lyra, in all your travels, have you ever found food that brought you true joy? The warrior thought for a moment. I once visited a small planet on the edge of the galaxy. It was mostly blue with patches of green and brown. The beings there were primitive, but their food, I remember a sweet frozen cream that melted on my tongue and made me feel like I was tasting sunlight. What was this planet called? Valenia asked, her eyes now bright with interest. Earth said. Lyra, it was called Earth. On that distant planet named Earth, a human woman named Olivia worked late in her kitchen. She had no idea that across the galaxy an alien princess was starving, or that in 7 days' time her simple cooking would change the fate of worlds. Olivia wiped sweat from her forehead and checked her oven. The bread inside was rising nicely, filling her small restaurant with a warm smell. The place was empty now, the last customers gone home. She was alone with her thoughts and her food. Business was slow. People in the small coastal town didn't understand her cooking. She mixed flavors from around the world, creating dishes that told stories. But the locals wanted simple, familiar meals, not her strange combinations. Her landlord had given her 1 month to pay the back rent or close down. She had only 2 weeks left and barely enough money to buy ingredients for tomorrow. As she pulled the golden bread from the oven, she wondered if her dream of sharing her food with the world would die here in this empty restaurant. She had no way of knowing that across the stars a desperate king and his fading daughter would soon bring strangers to her door, or that her simple human cooking would soon become the most sought-after taste in the galaxy. Meanwhile, on Lumaria, Lyra met with the king in his private chambers. She bowed low as protocol demanded, but her mind raced with plans. My king, she said, I request permission to leave the planet. King, Zorith looked surprised. Where would you go when your duty is to protect my daughter to Earth, your majesty? Lyra replied. I believe this planet may hold the answer to the princess problem. I have been there before many cycles ago. Their food is unlike anything in our empire. It might be exactly what Princess Valenia needs. The king considered this Earth, he mused. The small blue planet in the outer reaches. His fingers moved over a control panel and a holographic map of stars appeared. He zoomed in on a spiral galaxy and then to a small solar system with 8 planets. The third one glowed blue. It is primitive, he said. The beings there have not yet achieved proper space travel. That is why their food remains unique, Lyra explained. It has not been influenced by galactic cuisine. It remains pure and true to their world. Ember, who had accompanied Lyra to this meeting, flapped his small wings and rose to hover near the hologram of Earth. The dragon circled it, studying the continents and oceans. The king watched the dragon with interest. Ember has lived for 1,000 years. His wisdom is not to be ignored if he shows interest in this plan. Perhaps there is merit to it. Very well, said the king. You have my permission. Take Ember and a small ship. You must return before the 3 moons align, with something that will tempt my daughter. Lyra bowed again. Thank you, your majesty. I will not fail. As she left the king's chambers, Lyra felt a mix of hope and worry. The journey would be dangerous. The Earth people might not be welcoming to strangers from the stars, and she had only 7 days to save the princess from a marriage to whoever might win the king's competition. She hurried to prepare, sending a mental message to Ember Time to visit the blue planet. Old friend. We hunt for food, not enemies this time. The little dragon sent back an image of flames and feasting. They would find what they sought or burn trying. The royal ship hummed quietly as it slipped between the stars. Lyra sat at the control panel, checking the coordinates for Earth. Ember perched on the dashboard, his ruby eyes watching the space map with ancient interest. The small dragon had lived through many galactic changes and remembered when Earth was still cooling from its fiery birth. We must be careful, Lyra told her dragon companion. The humans have advanced since our last visit. They have satellites now and primitive space stations. They might detect us. Ember sent her a mental image of clouds and darkness, suggesting they hide their approach. Yes, we will come in through their atmosphere under cover of night. Lyra agreed. We must find food worthy of the princess and return before anyone discovers our true nature. The ship contained a special chamber filled with Lumerian gold coins and rare gems. These would serve as currency on Earth. Lyra had studied the planet's recent history through the royal database. She knew enough to blend in, though her pointed ears and unusual eyes would need disguising. As the blue planet grew larger in their view screen, Lyra thought of Princess Valenia. The competition her father announced would bring trouble. Power-hungry nobles from across the galaxy would come with their exotic dishes, all hoping to win half a kingdom and a beautiful bride. Lyra and Ember had sworn to protect the princess. This mission was part of that oath. The ship computer beeped softly, alerting them. They were entering Earth's solar system. Lyra activated the cloaking shield. They would be invisible to the primitive human scanning systems. On Earth, Olivia closed her small restaurant for the night. The dinner service had brought in just enough money to buy ingredients for tomorrow, but not enough for the rent she owed. She wiped down counters and wondered how much longer she could keep her dream alive. Maybe people just don't understand my food, she thought. Maybe I should cook simple things like burgers and fries. But the idea made her sad. Her cooking told the story of her life. Her mother from Jamaica, her father from Italy. The years she spent traveling and learning from street vendors and grandmothers in kitchens around the world. Her dishes combined, these influences creating something new and special. As she locked the front door, she noticed a strange light in the sky. It moved too fast for an airplane, too silent for a helicopter. Then it vanished. She shook her head, thinking she needed more sleep. Miles away in a secluded forest clearing, Lyra and Ember stepped onto Earth soil for the first time in centuries. The ship had landed softly, leaving no mark on the ground. Its cloaking shield made it invisible to human eyes. Lyra breathed in. The rich air of Earth forest smells filled her lungs, pine and moss and wild things growing. She had forgotten how alive this planet felt, compared to the sterile halls of the Lumerian palace. Ember stretched his wings and sniffed the air. His scaled body tensed with excitement. The small dragon remembered hunting in forests like this long ago. First, we need appropriate clothing and transportation, Lyra said. She opened a small device that projected images of current human fashion. She programmed the ship's fabricator to create suitable garments. Soon Lyra wore jeans and a sweater with a hat pulled low to hide her pointed ears. Her eyes now appeared human, thanks to special lenses that covered their unusual color and slitted pupils. She looked at her reflection and nodded. This would work. For Ember, the disguise was more difficult. Dragons did not exist on modern Earth except in stories. She created a special backpack with air holes where he could hide when they were in public. Now we need to locate the best food this planet has to offer, Lyra said, consulting another device that connected to something humans called the Internet. The screen showed lists of restaurants and reviews. Ember sent her an image of his memory. A small coastal town with fishing boats and a market where food smelled fresh and real. Yes, Lyra agreed. Small places often have the most authentic food, not the fancy restaurants in big cities. Let us find such a place. They activated a homing beacon that would let them find the ship again, then set out toward the nearest town. According to the device, it was called Bayview, a small coastal settlement known for its fishing industry. Morning found Olivia at the local farmer's market. She had little money but knew the vendors well. Many gave her good deals or extra produce because they liked her. Her stall at the monthly food festival had brought visitors to the town, and they appreciated that she selected fresh vegetables, herbs from old Ms. Wilkins' strawberries that smelled like sunshine and seafood just hours from the ocean. These ingredients would become today's special, a dish she created inspired by her grandmother's recipes. As she carried her purchases back to the restaurant, she noticed a stranger in town. A tall woman with unusual grace, examining everything with intense curiosity. Beside her walked a child, or what Olivia thought was a child wrapped in a red coat. Despite the warm weather, Lyra felt the human's eyes on her. She turned and saw a woman carrying bags of food. The smell reached her even from this distance, fresh and enticing. Unlike the artificial flavors of Lumerian cuisine, this food smelled of earth and water and honest work. Their eyes met briefly. Olivia smiled politely, then continued toward her restaurant. Lyra watched her go, noting the name on the bags. Olivia's kitchen Ember shifted impatiently in his disguise. He had seen the food too, and sent Lyra an image of following the woman. Not yet. Lyra replied mentally, "Let us explore the town first and learn more. We have 6 days before we must return." They spent the morning walking through Bayview, observing humans and their habits. Lyra noticed how they gathered in places that served food and drink. Coffee shops and cafes were filled with people talking, eating, enjoying simple pleasures. By midday, hunger led them to a small place called the Harbor View. The menu posted outside showed pictures of local seafood. Lyra had brought some earth currency obtained through the ship's matter converter. She hoped it would be sufficient. Inside, they took a table by the window. Ember remained hidden in the backpack, though his snout poked out slightly to smell everything. The server, a young man with friendly eyes, approached. "Welcome to Harbor View. What can I get you folks today?" Lyra had practiced human speech patterns. "Your most popular dish, please. Whatever most people enjoy." The server nodded. "The clam chowder. Then it's our specialty." When the food arrived, Lyra tasted it carefully. The flavors were simple but satisfying, creamy with the taste of the sea. Ember received small spoonfuls under the table. His mental response was positive, but not excited. This was good food, but not special enough for Valenia. They visited 3 more eating places that day. Each offered decent food, but nothing extraordinary. Nothing that would tempt a princess who had tried delicacies from 17 star systems. As evening approached, Lyra noticed a small building down a side street. A warm light glowed from its windows and wonderful smells drifted out. The sign read, "Olivia's Kitchen," the same woman they had seen at the market. "Let us try this place." Lyra decided. Inside they found a cozy space with only a few tables. Most were empty. A handwritten sign asked guests to seat themselves. Lyra chose a table in the corner where Ember could observe without being noticed. The woman from the market appeared from the kitchen. Her dark hair was tied back and she wore an apron stained from cooking. She smiled when she saw them. "Welcome to Olivia's. I'm Olivia, and it's just me here tonight, so I'll be your server and your chef." Lyra studied her. This human female had kind eyes and hands that showed years of work with food. There was something special about her, an energy that reminded Lyra of the royal chefs on Lumaria, who cooked with passion. "Not just skill, I seek food that tells the story of your world," Lyra said formally. Olivia's eyes lit up. "You've come to the right place. I don't have a menu tonight, just whatever inspired me from this morning's market. Is that okay?" Lyra nodded and Olivia disappeared into the kitchen. Soon enticing aromas filled the small restaurant. Ember shifted excitedly in his hiding place, sending Lyra images of hunger and anticipation. The first dish arrived, a small bowl containing something Olivia called seafood bisque. It glowed orange in the candlelight. "I make this with lobster shells and local herbs," Olivia explained. "The saffron comes from far away, but everything else is from within 20 miles of here." Lyra tasted it and her eyes widened. The flavor was complex yet harmonious. Nothing like the processed foods they had tried earlier. Ember received a small spoonful under the table. His mental response was a burst of fiery approval. More dishes followed, each with its own story. A salad of greens with berries and nuts. A plate of perfectly cooked fish with a sauce that balanced sweet and savory bread, still warm from the oven that smelled like comfort and home. With each bite, Lyra became more certain they had found what they sought. This human cooked with something the Lumerian chefs lacked. Despite their advanced technology and exotic ingredients, they could not create food with this quality of feeling. For dessert, Olivia brought a simple dish. "Wild berries, honey from my own hives, and a touch of sea salt," she explained. The combination was perfect. The sweet fruit, the complex honey, the surprising salt that made everything brighter. Lyra closed her eyes in bliss. "This," she whispered, This is what we seek. When Olivia returned to check on her guest, she found the table empty. Every dish had been eaten completely. A small pile of strange gems sat beside, the plate with a note written in elegant script, "Prepare for a journey." Olivia picked up one of the stones. It caught the light in a way no earth gem ever had. She looked around confused but the strange. Morning light filtered through the windows of Olivia's restaurant as she prepared for the day. She checked her supplies, planning the special dishes she would create. The strange gems from last night sat in a small box on her shelf. Their unusual colors caught the light in ways that made them seem alive. The door chimed as someone entered. Though the restaurant wasn't open yet, Olivia looked up from her work and saw the woman from yesterday, the tall, graceful customer who had left the mysterious payment and note. "I apologize for coming before your opening time," the woman said. Her voice had an unusual accent that Olivia couldn't place. "That's okay." Olivia wiped her hands on her apron. "Did you forget something yesterday?" Lyra studied the human, carefully choosing her words. This conversation would determine the success of their mission. Ember remained hidden in the backpack but was fully alert, sending calming thoughts to his companion. "I have a proposition for you." Lyra began. "Your cooking is extraordinary, unlike anything available where I come from." "Thank you." Olivia smiled, though she felt a strange tension in the air. Something about this woman wasn't quite normal. "I represent someone important," Lyra continued. "Someone who would greatly appreciate experiencing your food. This person would pay very generously for your services." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Like a private chef job?" "Something like that," Lyra agreed, "though it is somewhat more complicated. The journey would take several days, but you would return with more wealth than you can imagine." Olivia crossed her arms. "Wait, are you asking me to leave my restaurant and go somewhere with you, a complete stranger, to cook for some mysterious rich person?" Lyra nodded, understanding the human suspicion. It was reasonable. The situation did sound strange from her perspective. "Look, I appreciate the offer, but I can't just close my restaurant and disappear," Olivia said. Lyra reached into her pocket and removed a small device that projected a holographic image of Lumaria. The alien city floated in the air between them, its crystal towers and 3 moons clearly visible. Olivia's eyes widened. "What is that?" "Some kind of movie effect." "It is my home," Lyra said simply, "and the home of Princess Valenya, daughter of King Zorith, ruler of the Lumarian Empire. She is dying because she cannot eat. She finds no joy in food. I believe your cooking can save her." Olivia stared at the projection, then at Lyra. If this is a joke, its elaborate Lyra removed, the special lenses that disguised her eyes revealing their true nature. Vertical pupils and irises that shifted color like oil on water. Then she took off her hat, allowing her pointed ears to show. Olivia stepped back, her hand finding the counter for support. "You're not human. I am of the elven race," Lyra explained. "We served the Lumarian royal family for millennia. I am the princess' personal guard, and I have a companion." She opened the backpack and Ember climbed out. The small dragon stretched his wings and regarded Olivia with intelligent eyes. "Oh my God," Olivia whispered. "It's a dragon. A real dragon. Ember is more than that." Lyra said, "He is my bonded companion, a warrior and scholar who has lived for centuries." The dragon made a soft rumbling sound and a small puff of smoke escaped his nostrils. Olivia stared in amazement. "This can't be real," she said. Her voice shook. "You can't be aliens. That stuff isn't real." Lyra stepped closer. "Would you like to see our ship? It is hidden in the forest outside. Town, I can take you there. Prove that what I say is true. Then you can decide whether to help us." Olivia looked at the strange woman, the impossible dragon, and the floating image of an alien city. Her world had just expanded beyond anything she had imagined possible. Fear warred with curiosity in her mind. "Let me get my coat," she said finally. The walk to the forest clearing took 30 minutes. Olivia followed Lyra along a path that grew less distinct as they moved away from town. Ember flew, ahead scouting for any humans who might see them. "What exactly is wrong with this princess?" Olivia asked, trying to make sense of the situation. "Princess Valenya has lost her desire for food," Lyra explained. "She has been offered delicacies from many worlds, but nothing tempts her. She grows weaker each day. Her father has announced a competition. Anyone who can present food she enjoys will win her hand in marriage and half the kingdom." Olivia nearly tripped over a root. "Whoa, marriage I don't want. To marry a princess," Lyra smiled for the first time, "that will not be required. The king made the offer not knowing we would find you. The rules can be adjusted." They reached a clearing that appeared empty. Lyra pressed something on her wrist and suddenly, a spacecraft appeared where nothing had been before. It was sleek and silver with no visible engines or windows. Olivia gasped. "That's a spaceship. A real spaceship. Would you like to see inside?" Lyra asked, moving as if in a dream. Olivia nodded. Lyra placed her hand on a panel and a door slid open, revealing the interior of the craft. They entered a small chamber that expanded into a larger room with control panels and viewing screens. "This is our transport vessel," Lyra explained. "Not large, but fast enough to reach Lumaria in 2 of your Earth days." Olivia touched the wall of the ship, feeling its strange, smooth surface. It hummed slightly under her fingers as if alive. "So you want me to go with you to another planet, cook for a princess, save her life, and then come back home?" she said, trying to process everything. "That is correct," Lyra confirmed. "If you agree, you would need to bring ingredients from Earth. The princess needs to experience your worlds, flavors, not just your cooking skills." Olivia thought of her struggling restaurant, the landlord who wanted to evict her, the town that didn't appreciate her food, and now aliens from another planet thought her cooking was special enough to save a princess. "What if I say no?" she asked. "Then we will find another solution." Lyra said, "Though time grows short, the king's competition begins in 4 days. Many will come seeking to win the princess and the kingdom. We hope to present your food before that happens." Ember had been watching Olivia carefully. The dragon now approached and gently touched her hand with his snout. A warm feeling spread up her arm, and she saw an image in her mind. A beautiful woman with pearly skin and eyes that changed color, looking sad and lost. "Was that the princess?" Olivia asked. "Ember showed you his memory of her." Lyra explained, "He can communicate through images and feelings." Olivia took a deep breath. This is crazy. Complete insanity. But her restaurant was failing anyway. What did she have to lose? "If I do this," she said slowly, "what exactly would I need to bring?" Lyra smiled. "Bring whatever you need to create your best dishes. The ship can preserve fresh ingredients. The kitchen on Lumaria has basic equipment, but you may want to bring special tools. So I just close my restaurant for a week, tell no one where I'm going, and fly to another planet with 2 aliens." Olivia laughed at how absurd it sounded. "When you return, you will have wealth enough to save your restaurant," Lyra promised, "and knowledge few humans possess." Olivia looked around the ship again. Everything in her logical mind said this couldn't be happening. Yet here she stood inside an alien spacecraft, talking to an elf and a dragon about saving a princess with her cooking. "Okay," she said finally, "I'll do it. But I need today to prepare, gather ingredients, close the restaurant, leave a note for people." Lyra nodded. "We will depart tomorrow at first light. That will bring us to Lumaria just before the competition begins." Back at her restaurant, Olivia moved in a daze. She wrote a note for the door. "Closed for family emergency, will reopen next week." Then she made a list of ingredients and equipment she would need. Fresh herbs, seafood from the morning market, spices from her special collection, olive oil from Italy, honey from her own hives, chocolate and vanilla salt harvested from local waters, flour for baking bread, her favorite knives and tools. As she gathered everything, she wondered if she was having some kind of breakdown. Aliens didn't visit small-town chefs and ask them to save princesses. That happened in movies, not real life. Yet the memory of Ember's scales and Lyra's pointed ears was too vivid to deny, and the ship had been solid under her hands. That Evening, she packed everything carefully. She called her friend Maddie. "I need to go away for a few days. Family emergency. Can you water my plants?" "Of course," Maddie said. "Is everything okay?" "You sound strange, just tired." Olivia lied. "Thanks for helping." She slept poorly that night. Dreams of alien worlds and starving princesses mixing with anxiety about leaving Earth. Would she ever return? What if it was all an elaborate trick? But morning came, and with it, Lyra and Ember. The ship waited in the clearing just as before. Olivia brought 2 large bags of ingredients and equipment. Her hands shook as she boarded the spacecraft. "Are you prepared?" Lyra asked as the door closed behind them. "No," Olivia admitted. "But let's go anyway." She strapped herself into a seat as Lyra had shown her. Ember perched nearby, watching her with ancient eyes. The ship rose silently into the sky faster than seemed possible. Olivia gasped as her hometown shrank below them, becoming tiny, then disappearing as clouds engulfed. The vessel, moments later, they broke through into open space Earth, a blue sphere falling away behind them. "Oh my God," Olivia whispered. "It's real, all of it." Lyra programmed the course to Lumeria, then joined Olivia. "The journey has begun," she said. "We will travel through what your people call hyperspace. Most of the trip will be spent there." Olivia stared out the viewport as stars streaked past. "I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm actually leaving Earth, going to another planet." "You are brave," Lyra told her. Few humans would accept such a challenge. Ember made a soft sound of agreement. The dragon had warmed to Olivia. His instincts told him she was trustworthy. During the journey, Lyra explained more. The royal palace of Lumeria towered above the capital city, its crystal spires catching the light of 3 moons. Olivia gasped as their ship approached. The building seemed to be made of glass and light rather than solid materials. It glowed from within, creating a beacon visible for miles. "We will land at the private royal dock," Lyra explained. "No one must know you are here until we present your food to the princess." The ship descended smoothly toward a small platform extending from one of the lower towers. Guards in shimmering armor stood at attention, their faces hidden behind helmets that reflected the moonlight. "Will they let us in?" Olivia asked nervously. She clutched her bags of Earth ingredients. "They answer to me," Lyra assured her. "I am the princess' personal guard. My authority is second only to the royal family." Ember perched on Lyra's shoulder, his scales glowing softly in the dim light of the ship. The small dragon seemed tense, his eyes scanning for potential threats. The ship touched down with barely a tremor. Lyra activated a device on her wrist and spoke in a language Olivia had never heard. The guards outside straightened, then stepped aside. "Follow me," Lyra instructed. "Stay close, and do not speak to anyone. We must reach the princess' chambers undetected." They disembarked into the cool night air of Lumeria. Olivia felt immediately lighter, as if gravity had loosened its hold. Her steps became bouncy, and she nearly stumbled. "The gravity here is 80% of Earth," Lyra explained. "You will adjust soon." The guards bowed to Lyra, but their hidden eyes studied Olivia with obvious curiosity. One whispered to another in their strange language. Olivia heard the word human, spoken with what sounded like surprise. Lyra led them through gleaming corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked. The walls glowed with soft light that followed their movements. Olivia saw no lamps or fixtures yet. Darkness never touched them. "This place is amazing," she whispered. "Everything looks like it's made of light." "The palace is grown, not built," Lyra told her. "It responds to those within it. The royal family can reshape rooms at will." They passed several beings that Olivia could only describe as alien. Some resembled humans with subtle differences, pointed ears like Lyra, or skin in impossible colors. Others were completely foreign shapes, moving on multiple limbs or floating above the floor. None seemed alarmed by her presence, though many stared as they passed. Finally, they reached a set of doors that towered 20 feet high, made of some pearlescent material. They glowed with inner fire. The princess chambers, Lyra said. She placed her hand on a panel beside the doors. The pearl surface rippled like water, then parted silently. Inside, Olivia found herself in a room larger than her entire restaurant. Ceilings soaring overhead, walls that seemed to contain actual stars drifting in darkness, floors that looked like solid moonlight. Balcony opened to the night sky where the 3 moons hung in near alignment. In the center of the room stood a figure that took Olivia's breath away. Princess Valenya made human beauty seem plain by comparison. Her skin glowed with pearly light. Her hair flowed like liquid silver down her back. Her eyes shifted color even as Olivia watched from deep blue to purple to gold. Her form was tall and graceful, draped in fabric that seemed woven from starlight. The princess turned as they entered. Her changing eyes widened at the sight of Olivia. Lyra, "You have returned," she said. Her voice sounded like music. The words were English, but with an accent that made them seem more than ordinary speech. Then her gaze fixed on Olivia. "What is this you have brought? A human. I have found the answer to your hunger." My Princess Lyra bowed deeply. "This is Olivia of Earth. She creates food unlike any in the Empire." Valenya approached, moving with impossible grace. She circled Olivia, studying her with curious eyes that shifted from gold to green. "You are the first human to stand in these chambers," she told Olivia. "Many would fear such an honor." Olivia tried to curtsy, though she had no idea how to properly greet an alien princess. "I just like to cook, Your Highness," she said, feeling completely inadequate. A smile touched Valenya's perfect lips. "So Lyra believes your cooking can succeed where the finest chefs of 17 systems have failed." Ember flew from Lyra's shoulder to hover near the princess. The small dragon made a series of soft sounds, and Valenya nodded as if understanding. "If Ember vouches for you, then you must indeed be special," she said. Olivia looked to Lyra for guidance. The elven warrior nodded encouragingly. "I would like to prepare some food for you," Princess Olivia said, "if you are willing to try it." Valenya sighed, her eyes fading to a dull gray. "I have tried so many dishes, each one more elaborate than the last. None bring me joy, but I will taste your human food, if only to honor Lyra's efforts." The princess gestured, and part of the chamber transformed. A kitchen appeared where moments before there had been only open space, counters, appliances that looked both familiar and strange, a sink that seemed to float without. Support Lyra helped Olivia unpack her ingredients. The earth food looked simple and humble in the magical setting. Herbs still damp from Olivia's garden, vegetables with soil clinging to their roots. Seafood wrapped in paper. "What will you prepare?" First, Valenya asked, watching with mild curiosity. "Something simple to begin," Olivia decided. She selected fresh bread she'd baked that morning, garlic, a bottle of olive oil, sea salt, and herbs. "I call this the beginning of every good meal, Your Highness," she explained as she sliced the bread and placed it in what appeared to be an oven, though it had no door, only a glowing space. Ember perched nearby, watching intently. The dragon seemed fascinated by her movements as she crushed garlic and chopped herbs, mixing them with oil and salt. The bread warmed quickly, filling the chamber with its homey smell. Olivia removed it, spread the garlic herb oil over the surface, and presented it on a simple plate. Princess Valenya regarded the offering with skepticism. "This is your magic food, a plant seed ground and heated with oil. Please try it," Olivia encouraged. "It's best when warm." The princess took a small piece and placed it delicately in her mouth. Her eyes widened instantly, changing from dull gray to bright silver. She took another bite, then another. "It tastes of sun," she said wonderingly, "and earth. The oil carries memories of ancient trees," encouraged. Olivia moved quickly to prepare her next dish. She selected fresh fish herbs she had grown herself, butter and lemon. The cooking methods were simple, but the ingredients were perfect, each chosen for flavor rather than appearance. As she cooked, she told stories explaining where each ingredient came from and why she paired them together. "This fish lived in cold Atlantic waters," she explained. "These herbs grew in my garden where bees visited them each morning. The salt comes from the same ocean as the fish, connecting them. Valenya watched and listened with growing interest. Each dish that Olivia presented was met with increasing enthusiasm. The princess color improved with each bite, her eyes growing brighter, her movements more energetic. The final course was dessert: wild berries from the forests near Olivia's town, honey from her own hives, a touch of vanilla and cream. She arranged them, simply allowing their natural beauty to show. The princess tasted the dessert and closed her eyes in bliss. "This," she whispered, "this is what I have been searching for. The taste of life." Itself, Lyra and Ember exchanged triumphant glances. Their mission had succeeded. "We must tell my father immediately," Valenya announced. Her voice rang with enthusiasm that had been absent for months. "The competition tomorrow is unnecessary. I have found what I seek." But before they could leave the chamber, the doors burst open. Guards rushed in, surrounding a tall, imposing figure. King Zorith entered, his robes swirling with captured starlight, his crown gleaming with power. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. His voice filled the room like thunder. His eyes fixed on Olivia with suspicious anger. "Who has brought a human into my daughter's chambers?" My king. Lyra knelt quickly, head bowed. "I brought her, the human from Earth. Her food has accomplished what all others failed." Princess Valenya eats with joy again. The king's anger seemed to fade as he looked at his daughter. Her healthy color and bright eyes were unmistakable. Valenya stood tall and strong for the first time in months. "Father," she said, "it is true. This human called Olivia has brought me food that speaks of life and connection. Nothing like the tasteless perfection our chefs create." King Zorith approached Olivia, who stood frozen beside her simple earth ingredients. The alien king towered over her, his presence overwhelming. "You have succeeded where the greatest chefs in 17 systems have failed," he said. His voice had softened but still carried immense authority. "How is this possible?" Olivia swallowed hard. "My food isn't perfect, Your Majesty," she explained. "But it tells a story. It connects the eater to the planet, to the animals and plants that gave themselves to become the meal. There's truth in it. And maybe that's what your daughter was missing." The king considered her words. His eyes, ancient and wise, studied her face. Then he turned to Valenya. "Is this true, my daughter?" he asked. "Have you found joy in food again?" Valenya nodded eagerly. "It tastes of sunshine and rain and living things, Father. Not like our processed foods with their perfect bland flavors. This human cooks with her heart, not machines." King Zorith raised his hand for silence. "A decision must be made," he announced. "I promised half my kingdom and my daughter's hand to whoever brought her joy in food again." Olivia stepped forward quickly. "Your Majesty, I don't want to marry your daughter," she said. "I just want to go home to Earth, maybe with enough payment to save my restaurant." The king looked surprised, then laughed a sound like D. Morning on Lumaria brought light from twin suns that filled the sky with golden and rose-colored rays. The 3 moons had completed their alignment during the night, and now hung in perfect formation, visible even in daylight. The royal palace buzzed with activity as visitors from across the galaxy arrived for the great competition. Olivia watched from a balcony connected to her guest chambers. The ships landing on the royal platforms were unlike anything she had imagined. Some looked organic, like giant sea creatures. Others were sleek and metallic. Some simply appeared in flashes of light, their technology beyond her understanding. "Quite a turnout for a cooking contest," she remarked to Lyra, who stood nearby. Ever watchful, the elven warrior had not left Olivia's side since dawn. "This is more than a cooking contest," Lyra explained. "These visitors seek power. The hand of the princess in marriage brings with it access to the throne. Many would kill for such an opportunity." Ember perched on the balcony rail, his ruby eyes following each arriving ship. The small dragon seemed tense, his scales glowing brighter than usual. He sent images to Lyra showing potential threats among the visitors. "I sense it too." Lyra responded to the unspoken warning. "We must be vigilant." Olivia looked between them. "What is it? What's wrong?" Lyra turned to her. Among the visitors are beings with dangerous ambitions. Some represent rival empires that have long sought control of Lumerian space gates. The king's announcement of this competition created an opportunity they could not ignore. "Are you saying there's going to be trouble?" Olivia asked. Ember growled softly, the sound like distant thunder. "Trouble has already arrived," Lyra said, pointing to a ship. Unlike the others, it was black and jagged like a blade cutting through space. No lights adorned its surface, no markings identified its origin. "The Shadow Claw Armada," Lyra whispered. "They have been enemies of Lumaria for centuries. Why would the king allow them to compete?" A servant appeared at the door to Olivia's chambers, bowing low. "The king requests your presence in the Great Hall. The competition is about to begin." They followed the servant through corridors filled with strange beings. Representatives from dozens of worlds had come dressed in their finest garments. Some appeared almost human. Others defied description, moving on multiple limbs or floating above the floor. All regarded Olivia with curious, sometimes hostile eyes. The Great Hall of Lumaria took Olivia's breath away. The space was vast enough to hold thousands. Its ceiling appeared to be open to space, though no cold touched them. Stars and nebulae swirled overhead in breathtaking beauty. Columns of crystal supported balconies, where musicians played instruments that created colors along with sounds. At the far end on a raised platform stood 3 thrones. The largest belonged to King Zorith, who sat resplendent in robes that seemed woven from light itself. Beside him, Princess Valenya glowed with renewed health, her eyes a bright, confident gold. The third throne, smaller than the others, remained empty. Olivia was led to a position near the royal platform. Lyra and Ember stayed close, their presence a comfort amid the overwhelming strangeness. A herald announced her arrival in the musical language of Lumaria, then translated Olivia of Earth, culinary ambassador to the royal court. Murmurs spread through the assembled crowd. Many looked shocked, others angry to see a human given such an honor. Olivia felt hundreds of alien eyes studying her, judging her, finding her wanting. King Zorith rose from his throne. The crowd fell silent instantly, visitors from across the galaxy. He began, his voice carrying effortlessly to every corner of the vast hall. "You have come seeking the hand of my daughter and half my kingdom. The competition I announced shall proceed, but with one change." More murmurs, louder now, filled the space. The king raised his hand for silence. "My daughter, Princess Valenya, has already found joy in food again," he announced, the human. "Olivia has accomplished this miracle." Angry shouts erupted from several delegations. A tall being stepped forward, skin blue and scaled like a fish, scales glittering with embedded jewels. "This is outrageous," the alien declared. "We traveled from the Cygnus system based on your proclamation. Now you say the prize is already claimed by this primitive creature?" "I said no such thing," King Zorith replied calmly. "The competition continues, but my daughter will judge based on more than just the food you present. She seeks one worthy to stand beside her as ruler, qualities that go beyond mere cooking skill." The blue-scaled being seemed somewhat pacified, though still suspicious. Others watched with calculated interest. Olivia noticed a group apart from the rest. Their skin was ghost white, their eyes solid black without pupils. They wore armor that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The Shadow Claw delegates," Lyra whispered, following Olivia's gaze. "They should not be here. Their empire has tried to assassinate the royal family 3 times in recent memory. The competition will begin with a presentation of dishes," King Zorith announced. "Each delegation may present one special food from their world for the princess to sample. Then those she finds most interesting will continue to the next challenge." Servants appeared carrying tables and equipment, setting up stations around the vast hall where each competitor could prepare their offering. Olivia watched as beings from across the galaxy began unpacking strange ingredients. Some glowed, others moved, as if still alive. Foods that defied Earth understanding. "Do they expect me to compete too?" she asked Lyra, nervously. "You have already won the princess favor," Lyra assured her. You are here as a guest of honor." Princess Valenya left her throne and approached Olivia. Her movement caused a stir among the competitors, many stopping their preparations to watch. "Earth Chef," the princess said loud enough for those nearby to hear, "your food has brought me joy when all others failed. I would like you to help me judge these offerings. Will you stand beside me as these beings present their dishes?" Olivia nodded, not trusting herself to speak. The princess was offering her a place of honor, elevating her status before all these powerful beings. She followed Valenya to the smaller throne which she now realized was meant for her. The competition began. Representatives from each world stepped forward, presenting dishes of incredible beauty and complexity. Foods that changed color as they were eaten, others that floated above their plates, some that sang melodic notes when cut. One delegation offered what appeared to be living crystals that dissolved on the tongue, releasing flavors that changed with each breath. Valenya tasted each offering politely, but Olivia could tell none excited her the way the simple earth food had. The princess' eyes remained a steady, polite gold, never shifting to the bright silver of true enjoyment. The delegates from Shadowclaw were last to present. Their offering looked simple compared to the others. A dark liquid in a crystal goblet. "This is essence of shadow," the white-skinned being explained. "Its taste reflects the deepest desire of the one who drinks." Ember growled a warning from his position behind the thrones. Lyra tensed her hand, moving to her weapon. The king leaned forward, watching carefully. Valenya took the goblet, but did not drink immediately. She studied the dark liquid with suspicious eyes, then passed it to Olivia. "What do you sense, Earth Chef?" she asked softly. Olivia sniffed the liquid and immediately felt dizzy. Images flashed through her mind. Her restaurant, filled with customers, fame and fortune beyond imagining. She pulled back with effort. "It's not food," she whispered to the princess. "It's something else. Something that shows you what you want most and makes you crave it." The princess nodded, then turned. "To the Shadowclaw delegate, I decline your offering," she announced. "It is not food but manipulation." The white-skinned being hissed in anger, but could not argue without revealing the deception. King Zorith motioned for guards, who moved closer to the Shadowclaw delegation. After all competitors had presented their dishes, the princess stood to address the gathering. "I have tasted wonders from across the galaxy," she began. "Many of you have shown great skill, but now I wish to test more than your cooking. Let us move to the second challenge." The crowd followed as Valenya led them to an adjoining chamber even larger than the Great Hall. Here a series of challenges had been prepared. Tests of wisdom, courage, and compassion. The princess has changed. The competition, Lyra explained to Olivia. She seeks one worthy to rule beside her, not just a skilled cook. The challenges eliminated many competitors. Some failed tests of intelligence, unable to solve complex puzzles. Others showed cruelty when presented. With situations requiring compassion, the Shadowclaw delegates remained, advancing through each test with cunning if not honest means. Olivia watched from beside the princess, occasionally offering her perspective when asked. She found herself enjoying the spectacle while also missing her simple restaurant back on Earth. This alien world with its wonders and dangers was thrilling, but not home. As the day progressed, only 3 competitors remained. One, a scholarly being with 6 arms and eyes that saw across time; another, a warrior princess from a system of binary stars whose courage had impressed everyone; and the Shadowclaw leader whose name was spoken in whispers, Orcs. "The final challenge will test loyalty," King Zorith announced. "Each finalist must demonstrate their devotion to Lumaria and its people." The scholarly being presented ancient knowledge, offering to share secrets that would advance Lumarian science by centuries. The warrior princess pledged her planet's military might to defend Lumarian borders. Both impressed the royal court. Then Vorex stepped forward. The Shadowclaw leader bowed with practiced grace. "My loyalty gift is in form.